Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Listen, if you're sitting down right now getting ready to build your very first retirement portfolio, I want you to just take a deep breath and relax. Seriously, you are in exactly the right place. Step into my virtual office. I know the world of investing can feel, well, incredibly overwhelming. It's full of confusing jargon, and it feels like the stakes are sky high. But today we're going to completely demystify the whole process. We are mapping out a clear, stress-free path to mastering your long-term wealth architecture. And we're going to rely on hard data, not Wall Street drama. Let's dive in. Look at this quote. You are being lied to about how wealth is actually built in 2026. While Wall Street gurus promise market-beating returns, hidden fee structures and human bias are quietly eroding your compound interest. Wow. Now, if you've ever had this sneaking suspicion that the financial industry is sort of designed to confuse you or maybe even take advantage of you, while this contrarian revelation validates exactly how you're feeling, you aren't crazy. The traditional narrative of wealth building, it's honestly often just a slick marketing pitch, and today we're stripping away all that hype.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the Wall Street myth.
So, let's dismantle this high-stakes pursuit of active management. The whole idea that you absolutely need to pay a really smart person in a fancy suit to pick winning stocks for you. Because you got to ask yourself, can a human fund manager really outperform a simple, automated algorithm over 20 years? Or is it literally a mathematical impossibility? At the end of the day, this whole thing comes down to a battle between the ego of Wall Street and the relentless mechanical consistency of automation.
Now, I get it. It is incredibly tempting to fall into the psychological trap of performance chasing. You see a fund that did amazing last year and you think, I gotta put my money there. But usually, you're just buying yesterday's winners, right before they drop back down to average, or even worse. The harsh reality here is that over a 15-year period, 90% of active fund managers fail to beat the S&P 500. So please take a massive breath of relief. You do not need the stress of trying to pick winning stocks, because even the high-paid professionals who do this full-time fail 9 times out of 10.
And get this, that 90% failure rate, it's actually a conservative number. No way, right? But it's true because of something called survivorship bias. See, when a mutual fund performs terribly, the company often just quietly closes it or merges it into another fund. Poof! It vanishes from the history books. It's a clever marketing tactic that hides all their failures from public view, making active management look way more successful than it actually is. So again, let go of the pressure to find some star manager. The system is heavily skewed against them.
Moving right along to Section 2, the math of wealth erosion.
Okay, now that we've totally cleared up the myth of the star stock picker, let's talk about the silent killer, fees. Look, even a standard 1% management fee will drastically cut your wealth growth over 30 years. But look at the number on this slide, 1.5%. To a beginner investor, giving up a penny and a half on the dollar probably seems perfectly fair, right? A small price to pay. Well, let's see what time actually does to that tiny little percentage.
Check this out. This brilliantly illustrates the problem. In a standard 30-year retirement portfolio, that seemingly harmless 1.5% fee consumes over a third of your total potential growth. Because of how compound interest works, you aren't just losing that 1.5% today. You are losing all the money that 1.5% would have earned over the next 3 decades. It is absolutely devastating to your long-term wealth. And as if losing a third of your wealth to fees wasn't bad enough, there's actually a second hidden thief waiting in the wings. See, active managers are constantly buying and selling stocks, desperately trying to beat the market. But this high turnover creates taxable events. So on top of those steep management fees, active management steals from your growth a second time through a massive tax track. This is something passive indexing neatly avoids entirely. Let's pivot to the good news. Section 3, the automated advantage. We clearly need a better way. And thankfully, modern technology in 2026 has completely changed the game for beginners. Instead of paying expensive middlemen, we now have automated tools that do the heavy lifting. We've got tax loss harvesting algorithms that automatically offset your gains to save you money on taxes. We're seeing this massive shift toward personalized direct indexing, which lets you track the market while tailoring it to your exact needs. And the absolute best part? All these technologies run on near-zero expense ratios. You finally get to keep your money compounding for you, allowing everyday index investors to consistently outperform traditional active benchmarks. And you never even have to pick a single stock. Think about the exhausting, non-stop effort of market timing, trying to perfectly guess when the market will go up or down. In today's high volatility environments, which are driven by lightning-fast algorithmic trading, human market timing fails spectacularly. You're basically competing against supercomputers. Your actual winning strategy is consistent market participation. Just staying in the market, buying a little bit every single month, rain or shine, it's mathematically superior to trying to guess when to jump in and out.
Which brings us to Section 4, Navigating Market Volatility.
Listen, as your advisor, I need to prepare you for reality right now. The market will dip. It's gonna happen. It's a completely normal feature of investing, not a bug. Now, when crashes happen, active management often triggers panic selling, people jumping out of the market to stop the bleeding. But all that does is permanently lock in your losses. Automated indexing, on the other hand, gives you this incredible set-and-forget mentality. It builds actual emotional resilience. Because you aren't gambling on individual stocks, a market crash isn't some huge emergency. It's just an expected temporary bump in a boring, highly successful, decades-long process. You just keep holding.
So how do we guarantee that this set-and-forget approach actually works? One phrase: broad diversification. It remains the only true free lunch in all of finance. By buying index funds, you're basically buying tiny little pieces of thousands of companies all over the world. So when those crazy, unpredictable black swan events happen, spreading your money absolutely everywhere is your ultimate safety net. If one sector takes a major hit, the thousands of others hold you right up.
All right, let's put it all together. Section 5, your wealth building blueprint.
It is time to actually build your very first portfolio, and we're going to use the core satellite approach, which is honestly brilliant for beginners. Here's how it works. 90% of your money is your core. It lives safely, quietly compounding in low-cost, broadly diversified index funds. But hey, we're all human, and let's face it, investing is kind of fun. So that remaining 10%, that's your satellite. I'm giving you full permission to play around with that tiny sliver of your wealth. Buy an individual stock you really love, try a small active bet. It scratches the itch without ever endangering your long-term retirement.
Now, when you are picking the funds for that big 90% core, I want you to use this super simple 3-point checklist. First up, expense ratios. Keep them as close to zero as humanly possible. Second, tracking error. You want a fund that accurately mirrors the index it's supposed to track, without drifting off course. And third, liquidity. Just make sure it's a large, widely traded fund so you can easily buy and sell your shares whenever you need to without facing weird price gaps. And here is your final simple roadmap. Step 1, select those low-cost index funds using the checklist we just talked about. Step 2, automate your monthly contributions. Seriously, set it up so the money leaves your checking account and buys your index funds automatically every single month before you can even think about spending it. This ensures your compound interest remains completely uninterrupted. And step 3, ignore short-term noise. Turn off the financial news. Do not look at your portfolio every day. Just let the machine do the work. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Will you let human bias and hidden fees dictate your future? Or will you let automated consistency build your wealth? Think about it. You now have the knowledge to completely see through the Wall Street marketing hype. You know exactly how destructive a 1 or 1.5% fee can be over time, and you have the exact blueprint to build a wildly successful, low-cost retirement portfolio starting today. The choice is yours. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy investing!